Welcome to this episode of Shakespeare's Sonnet, introducing my discoveries. I'm Peter Matthews. In this episode, I want to reveal the sources to each sonnet and how they connect to Salve Deus Rex Judaeorum, and I want to delve into the true meaning. So let's get stuck into it. Well, I have prepared this reference guide, and it goes from basically Sonnet 151 from 1 all the way through to 154, plus there's a crescendo on the bottom, which we'll discuss in a minute. But this first section from Sonnet 1 to 19 is basically from the Zohar and Zohar Dash. This is the reference here, 1a, and Zohar Dash 3d to 4a. So that is what the first portion, Sonnet 1, is about. It's basically about creation. And true to the time of Noah, and starting to teach us on this I am black but beautiful from Song of Songs 2:2. It's introducing the Dark Lady at a very early stage. Then we go into the light upon a covenant, which it's talking about the covenant of Abraham. And that's Be-Reshit again, let there be light. Then we start discussing creation, the act of creation, and it keeps going. There's 3 parts to it there. Now, this is an incredible work here. The mother lends her garments to the daughter. Now, of course, I mentioned that earlier. This is the portion in Be-Reshit that's Midsummer Night's Dream. That's where that's based on, right there. And the Be-Reshit, the letters of creation, the Be-Reshit Ba Elohim, which is the first portion of the Bible. That is the opening verses of the Bible, and it's Genesis 1:1. The Tree of Life, you are with me, become my partner. It's talking about being joined with the Creator. We have a choice. See how he brings destruction upon the world. We can choose life or destruction. The riddles of Gilgalim by the Saba. These are the riddles by an ancient rabbi who walked through the desert and discussed. It was called the Saba for short. But he discussed little stories along the way, educating the other rabbis. This is the tone of the Zohar, walking through the Galilee. And that really is on reincarnation. And the rock and 4 judgments, a date with truth and beauty, Adam and Lilith, what is to come. I won't let out too much on that. And it's talking about the next one is the Torah. The Torah was created before the beginning of the world. So were many other things. That's what that Sonnet 16 is about. 17 is the 22 letters and the 231 gates. Now, the Jewish people know exactly what I'm talking about with most of these things. Many of my Christian friends won't, but I will explain them all as we delve into each sonnet. Neymar, the mother of all things. The telling of Passover, and there it is. That is the Haggadah. It was Sonnet 19. Haggadah of Mantua, that's where it's mentioned right there. Now, this from 1 to 19 is in the Tree of Life, which I'll display which side, that side. I will show you the different colours and what they mean. And this is Salve Deus, the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty. You see, the introduction to this portion is from the Mishnah. And the introduction or the dedication to the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty also comes from this portion of the Mishnah. in the Zohar. It's quite incredible. It's wonderful. So that's what it means. And this is Ki-Tissa, the highest part of the Godhead, basically. The second one is Chokmah, which is here, the Lady Elizabeth Grace. And this is on the portion of Lekh-Lekha. And Abraham, you go forth, and led by angels rather than the Lord. Elohim, Michael, and Melchizedek, the 60 mighty warriors. Introducing the painter. Now, who's the painter? We can wait for that one. The books of life and the book of life and the book of death. Your name is either written in one or the other. It's your choice. Now we get into, this one's black, so that tells you this is Bina, the dark divine mother of creation. The role of the Lamed Vovnik. These are the 36 righteous in the world who are tasked with underpinning the world. Some don't even know who they are. And even if you ask a person if they are, they will deny it. They're in each generation. And continues in the Lamed Vovnik, Lot and his 2 evil daughters. The Lord attended Sarah, the keys of Christ. And then, of course, this is Hesed to the Lady Arabella. And, of course, this is on the portion, the previous was Va-Yetse, and this is on Sarah. Sarah guards the gate, the Garden of Eden. The daughters of Jerusalem versus the daughters of Lot. And what's this? The what? The righteous or the unsullied versus the sullied. And then Tikkun Olam, which is the book, Tikkun Zohar. It's about the rectification of the world. Now, because this is red, we know this. The Lady Susan is Garuva, or judgment. And this is on the book of Toldot, the marriage supper of the Lamb. Because, of course, he comes for the marriage supper of the Lamb, but he also comes in judgment to judge the world. Rebecca, Esau, and Jacob, the Messiah, and, of course, the resurrection of the dead, which most people forget. The Bassano's 3 Bs. So why would the Bassano's 3 Bs be part of the sonnets if Shakespeare wrote it? Wouldn't. You see, that's the quandary. The next portion is Tiferet, which is really on the connection to the Messiah and the Blessed Holy One. And this is the author's dream to the Lady Mary. And 9, 10, or 11 utterances of creation. The manners before the holy hill. And this is mentioned specifically in Salve Deus. Jacob and Laban. And this 41 and 42 are absolutely magnificent on Jacob's ladder and the 50 gates. My goodness, it is incredible. The next one is Bimidbar, and counting the troops of Torah and of the dwelling, Israelite camp on 4 sides of the tabernacle. Yes, now why would a Christian carry on about tabernacle? They wouldn't. Christians don't care so much for the tabernacle anymore, but Jews certainly do. The tree of death, or the other side, Ephraim and Manasseh. Now, why would somebody particularly discuss Manasseh? Maybe because their lineage comes from Manasseh. And these two Sephira are, I'll put it up in a minute, but you'll see there's a Hod and, I lost the other one at the moment, but you'll see the colours, to the Lady Margaret. Now this is beautiful. This is Shemot. The names. It's talking about the beginning of Exodus from 1:1 through to the chapter 4, chapter 4 in Exodus. And to be honest, Exodus isn't the right name for the book. That's the way Christians have interpreted it. The coming of the Messiah, the 60 queens, 8 concubines and countless young women, my friend Elohim, or God, princes and prophets, the beginning of the end, the Levites, Moses, Aaron and Miriam, and then of course Miriam as well. It's a magnificent section, this. And then we come into the Lady Catherine, Countess of Suffolk, and this is Yesod. Now, this is an interesting portion because this is on the face of Bo. Now, this is a face of God, and it is the face in which destroyed the Egyptians. And the force of Satan, we'll discuss both, which the 56 is on the force, the day of judgment, and La Avisa, 58. Now, why would La Avisa be in the sonnets? Because the imageries in Sonnet 58 are also in Willoughby his Avisa and La Avisa, which is a Spanish phrase, but I'll leave the wonderful imagery to my next video. It is quite astounding. Now, this is multicolored because it's meant to be the rainbow. And this is Malkut. And it is the beginning to the Lady Anne. Now, here we go. Adonai Ish Ha-Elohim. And then we have the mixed multitude, which I spoke about earlier. I think that I mentioned that previously in the first episodes. If you haven't watched it, watch it first. The Reed Sea 1 and 2 and the crossing thereof, the earthly and heavenly chariots, evil disposed men, and what they do to righteous women. Very sad, and this is what Willoughby his Avisa is about. Very, very sad. The miracles of Tosefta, which means in English addendums. And it's from the Mishnah, and it's quite a beautiful work, that one. Don't you realize Egypt is ruined? His face and his cheeks, the song of the sea. Now these are getting into the real beauty of the works. The first hall and the redemption, the second hall and the redemption, the third hall and the judgments. You might remember in the first episode I mentioned your name's either written in the book of life or the book of death, and I talked about the when you go to heaven, you first go before the hall or the chamber of judgment, and then you come before the chamber of mercy. There is a Sanhedrin of 71, and then there is God who makes up 72, and he presides over the meetings, and he has the authority to overrule the chamber of mercies, the chamber of love, it's often called. That fatal hour, manna from heaven, and here we are, the chamber of love. The Jewish Shabbat. Now, why would a Christian write about the Jewish Shabbat? They wouldn't. Moses struck the rock Amalek came and the Battle of Rephidim, because most people don't realise there was actually 2 battles, not just one. The Lord is my banner. So that's the end of Malkut. And then we turn to the 6 pathways, which are in Salve-Deus, to the virtuous reader. And these portions that we picked, that they thought were another author, are not. They're actually on Yitro, or in English, Jethro, who offered advice to Israel. And it's quite a magnificent work. We have the Levites versus the priest of Midian. And we know who the priest of Midian is. The redemption of Israel, the first aliyah to Israel, Tosefta again, the will of the Creator. And later on, we'll discuss the will of wills. It's got nothing to do with William Shakespeare. The 2 sons, the mystery of the forehead, the mystery of the face, the first and second gate, the third gate, the arrival at Mount Sinai, meeting royalty, eagle's wings, Mount Sinai, sweetened rose, and the Hashmalim, which are the living creatures. The 613 Jewish mitzvot. You can clearly see by now that it's been written by a Jew, and seeing as though it's discussing Bat Torah or women of Torah, you can understand that it was not written by William Shakespeare. We have black fire upon white fire. I am Yud-He Vav-He, your God. The Jewish people substitute this name when spoken as Hashem, because for reverence for God, they do not pronounce it, or they use Adonai instead. No other gods, the names part 1, the names part 2 in Yitro. 60 queens, 8 concubines, counselors, women. Again, we look over different aspects of it. The 5 utterances, Anoki, your honor your mother and father, which is a Jewish command. Now, then we have the next portion on Salve-Deus, the age of the woman, which is in both the golden calf, weights and not dust. Now you've got to remember, I wrote this 8 years ago when I started. This portion here on Mishpatim, this is Ki-Tissa, which is Exodus chapter 30, and Mishpatim, it goes back to earlier. I am not sure on this because we covered the riddles of the Sabra up further. We may continue through here, but I'm not sure until I actually write this portion. That's the only section I'm not sure about. As I said, this is a working draft. And now one of the most important sections, Teruma. Now, God's own people, take me an offering, rivers of balsam. Why balsam? Because the balsam is the spice for the Temple of Jerusalem. And it is the coat of arms. The tree of balsam is on the coat of arms of the Bassano family. Next one is the Book of Sorcery. You pay with your own soul. The watchmen who keep watch on the wall. And I haven't finished from here through to there. And I have done a few of these, like Teruma continues here, though we add on Zohar al-Shir HaShirim, because this portion on Teruma matches Song of Songs. So this is why this continues here. Adonai, dark and not dark. It's about the Shulamite. It's about the daughters of Jerusalem, Song of Songs, the kisses of the king. And then we go down here, and here we are again with the balsam tree, the spices and the king's chamber. And it's all through the Song of Songs. You get the gist of what that's all about. Tetzaveh, anointing oil, me and hay. Passover, the feast of Matzah and Yom Kippur, and then Rosh Hashanah. Now you try and tell me it was written by a Christian. Well, no way in the world. Tosefta, this is where this last portion here comes from. Tosefta, or addendums. The souls are linked to divinity, connecting the Sephirot, death to dust dwellers. This is talking about the final judgment, the pursuers of justice, the chariots, and the wisdom. Wisdom is the will of wills. Wisdom. That's what it's about. Nothing to do with William Shakespeare. 12,000 worlds. What does that mean? It means that when we ascend, we are able to traverse through the stars to 12,000 worlds. But it doesn't finish there. The sonnets finish with a crescendo from Salve Deus Rex Judaeorum, the description of Kukum, which is actually from Rav Metivta, or the head of the academy, the companions in the Garden of Eden, which continues. There's two parts to it, the description of Kukum and then to the doubtful reader. Now this does continue into which is a Shekinah bringing dreams and visions into this last part, but it's also about the rectification of splendor, the final tikkun, the rectification of the world, tikkun olam, the rectification of the world. Sonnets were written by the Jewish woman, an academic scholar, Emilia Bassano Lanier. What an incredible work. An incredible work. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for many more videos on the sonnets to come, and have a wonderful day. Bless you.